Today, I'm going to begin a new series on TSMC, Taiwan's probably most famous and certainly wealthiest and most prominent company there is. And today we're going to focus on the founder of TSMC, which is Morris Chang. So you can see here, we're looking at the Forbes overview of Morris Chang. He is aged 90 years now. I just checked, and it seems that I basically got to Taiwan about the same time that TSMC was being formed. And initially, it was part of ITRI. Let's go and take a look at ITRI. And so ITRI stands for Industrial Technology Research Institute, and it's a government-sponsored organization here in Taiwan. And back in the, I guess, probably since the 70s, early 80s, the government really had a goal to see Taiwan, which was one of the four little tigers, four dragons actually. So it was Taiwan, Korea, South Korea, Singapore, and Hong Kong, I guess. And they just wanted to see Taiwan maybe take a more prominent and more substantive, sustainable role and get out of light industrial products into high tech, which was an emerging technology at the time. So you could see that here, ITRI was founded in 1973, and then it was in 1987, where the creation of TSMC, the world's largest OEM IC foundry, and it was a spinoff of ITRI. So let's get back over to the Forbes overview. And basically, Morris was a very successful engineer and team leader within the ranks of Texas Instrument. And so the story, as I heard it, was that he was doing a really good job, and he should have been the next man up for, I guess, promotion to CEO, or, if not CEO, definitely a very high leadership position in the company. And in fact, he did not get it. And that really bothered him. And, I heard there were, stories about, was it because of him not being a WASP, a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, being an Asian man or something like that. I don't know if that's true or not. If in fact it did happen, it wouldn't surprise me. It would surprise me less now. But since we're talking about, about 40 years ago or so, I'd say it was still kind of a relatively new thing having Asian immigrant executives in the ranks of Silicon Valley and tech companies. So anyhow, you could see that Morris was credited for founding Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing back in 2018. Oh, I'm sorry, he retired as chairman back in 2018. So of note, he is a graduate of both MIT, which is no big surprise, and in mechanical engineering, and also he went to Stanford. So it says he worked at Texas Instruments for a quarter century, and obviously TSMC, some of the largest customers are Apple, NVIDIA, and Qualcomm. Just for the record, for transparency's sake, I do invest in an ETF of Taiwan, the top 20 Taiwan companies, number one being TSMC. So it's a passively managed fund, and it's just weighted according, to the weight in the market. And obviously, TSMC is the biggest company in Taiwan. In addition to other companies, other customers, they're also a very big supplier of Intel. And it doesn't say that here, which is kind of interesting because Intel itself is a foundry. And so TSMC has seemed to move ahead of Intel in terms of newer generation products. And now it looks like Intel is working hard to play catch up. So they're both Intel and TSMC are doing major new investments back in the United States. TSMC has investments in Japan and China, as far as I know. So you can see that Morris Chang is one of Taiwan's 50 richest people, qualifies as a billionaire, supposed to be worth at least 2.3 billion, according to this report. And yeah, so TSMC was founded in 1987. A decade later, the company became the first Taiwanese firm to trade on the New York Stock Exchange. So that's noteworthy because there's not many Taiwan firms trading on the New York Stock Exchange, and TSMC was number one. I could tell you that basically a lot of people here, I am in Taiwan, if you didn't already know that. And I've been here, as I said, quite a while. I got here when TSMC was being founded. Too bad I didn't have my eye on that track, on that lane. Might have been smart to focus on the burgeoning semiconductor industry. But basically, you could say that most people feel, TSMC, a lot of their factories are located in Hsinchu, which is the home of the Science Industrial Park. So it's kind of basically the Silicon Valley of Taiwan. A lot of high-tech companies are there. And the capital, of course, in Taiwan is in Taipei, which is further north. Hsinchu is a little bit south of there. But basically, the growth in Hsinchu, because of all the high-tech industry there, has just been steady and prominent. So if you go to Hsinchu now, the town is really built up and developed. And I think it's actually going to become kind of like a higher level municipality in terms of the Taiwan local government scheme. And so TSMC is a big part of that. And anyway, so in many ways, you could say that if it wasn't for Hsinchu and in particular TSMC, Taiwan's economy would be a much different picture than the one it is right now. And obviously, it's a very complicated, very sensitive, very politically charged industry because of how important semiconductors are to pretty much everything. Government, defense, high tech, automotive, I mean, games, you name it, computers. So it just goes on and on. As mentioned earlier, NVIDIA is one of TSMC's big customers, and they make quite a few different products, and they're very strong. And I'm also invested some in NVIDIA as well. So basically, we'll go deeper into TSMC. I just wanted to start out today with giving a little bit of background on Morris Chang, a little bit of background on the start of TSMC, and we will continue on from there. So this episode is sponsored by Marlin Associates, my company. We do supply chain sourcing and management across a variety of different categories, specialize in product development. And so if you have a need or interest or would like to find out more about what that is, or please contact us. There'll be contact information on the YouTube. So this will be it for part one, and we will pick up with part two and get deeper into the TSMC story. So thank you and see you soon. Bye now.